Hello everyone, Jonathan Real Chandur here, and today we're going to talk about three aspects of the game that really have nothing to do with your traditional combat. We'll talk about mining, nebula gas farming, and salvaging salvage yards. First we're going to cover mining, because, well, who doesn't want to be a miner, right? Now, it is possible in this game to equip your ship with just mining beams. To do so, just take your weapon you've currently got equipped and unmount it. In its place we put a mining beam. Now, it's my personal belief that mining beams will yield a higher result from mining than using a actual weapon. Of course, the downfall to using a mining beam is that, well, it does next to no damage, and it's a beam meant for mining, not for destroying enemy ships. The other trick to mining are borehole torpedoes. These little guys right here. Now, let me go ahead and take us quickly over to this section of the Sea of Sorrows, which contains shard asteroids. Now, if you're looking for a good place to get a good chunk of money when mining, this is probably one of the better areas because shards sell for quite a bit. Up to the left of that, if you looked, there was Chrysalis. Those asteroids also drop some nice stuff. In fact, every asteroid belt has its own little specialty that it drops. Now, as you can see, these are Chrysalis asteroids, or not Chrysalis, but shard. If you look closely at them, you'll notice the little glowing blue parts that appear every now and again. Oops. Well, looks like I'm using some of my other weapons to mine with. I am close enough to hit it. I don't think so. No, I'm not, am I? No, it says 1,000. Anyways, mining is really just as simple as that. If you've destroyed an asteroid, it blows up into several chunks, and you can go up and collect your due from the one you destroyed. As you can see, this one didn't really drop much of anything of any good value here. Now, the borehole torpedo is something a little special, and I'll launch one here. As you can see, it destroys the asteroid plus every asteroid around it, leaving you with a lot more to collect. It's like fishing with dynamite, to be honest. Whether or not this has any effect on the results of what you can get, I don't know personally. But yeah, that's really all there is to mining. As you also saw, you get experience for mining. I'll just show that off again here. Well, it looks like my mining beams aren't doing anything. Let's quickly jump back to roaring.
Initiating T-drive.
Actually, we don't need to jump to roar, we can just jump to here and... Wow, insector jumps are really fast, aren't they? Okay, let's anchor at the station.
Rerouting all power to engines.
And just equip mining beams. Or, in this case, unequip all my weapons. Now, remember, when unequipping, you just unmount. You don't need to use remove turret. Removing a turret is never a good idea. And as you saw up there, a random event happened. Those can happen when you undock from stations. And they're not always fair, but neither is life, so... In that case, I lost some credits, but I'm not... What am I doing? What am I doing? Let me sell off all this stuff I've got in here. By the way, the shards I was talking about, right there. These bad boys. are what drop from the shard asteroids and are worth a lot of money when sold at a profit. There we go, that's a lot of mining beams.
Course adjusted. Rerouting all power to engines.
So let's go try this out. Sorry for any sniffling I do here. Still a bit sick. Pneumonia's a mean mistress. Alright, let's get close. Oh yeah, mining beams also just wreck asteroids really fast. Look at that, 7 shards from that. So I hold to my, if you want the best yield, use mining beams. Might take actually it doesn't even take any longer, it's just, you're gonna get a better yield in my opinion. Size of the asteroid also affects the yield, and as you can see you get XP for destroying asteroids and whatnot. So again, another way to gain XP in the game. As you can see, we're already starting to fill my cargo bay up with some nice valuable items. So, with that out of the way, showing you, now, like I said, Shard, Chrysalis, two of the best places to do mining. Safe place to mine Chrysalis asteroids is right here, I believe. You might find a couple. Shard asteroids, you can find some over here that aren't in the Sea of Sorrows. Up in this area you can find uranium, I believe, but shard and crystals are definitely the most valuable. So let's quickly go anchor, sell this, and oh right, I'm sorry, I almost forgot to mention, there is also a perk to help with mining called Miner here, and does as it says. I believe it'll give up to 18%. Well, 12 to 18% extra yield from asteroids when you mine them. So next we're going to do some nebula gas farming. Now this is a special one here, because it requires you to actually go into the nebulas and, well, get the gas straight out of them. As you can see, the game has gas collectors, so we'll just replace that. And
Yes,
we will
sir.
T-drive
ready for launch.
to a nice safe nebula here. I believe this one's safe. I don't think there's any radiation damage here. And it's in friendly territory, so let's go there. By the way, this is the handy use of T-drives. They're extremely
You should
useful.
check the star chart. New missions are available.
Alright, there's our nebula.
Rerouting all power to engines.
Hop inside of it. Apparently I somehow jumped outside of it. Not sure how. Now, for those of you using my nebulas removed and Riftway's nebulas removed, you won't see these things. But yeah, here we go. When you're in a nebula, these are what you're looking for. Gas packets. Once you're within a certain range, you'll be able to, I think it's 300, same as scanning. Or it might even be closer, but I don't know. First you have to scan it. You scan the gas packet. And then you can collect it. And as you can see, it can be a slightly slow process. You can go through, see what all drop from it, and collect it. Now, let's go see what this here gas collector does, because I've never actually used one of these. So this is a new experience for both you and me, assuming you're someone watching this that's never done this before. Now again, this is a slower way to play the game. You don't gain nearly as much experience for destroying these, or destroying asteroids, collecting nebula gas packets and things like that. However, since you're not paying anything to get this, you'll technically be getting more experience from the selling portion of this. This is kind of like being a trader without the, without having to actually go around and find the best buy sell everywhere. As you can see, my little gas collector launched in, is collecting the gas without us needing to scan it. And there we go. Looks like the high quality loot of this nebula is xenon. Ionized gas is the prized loot of nebulas. So let's go ahead and hit up one more here.
Affirmative. Engines on overdrive.
No, I'm still using just my mining beam, so as you can see there is an enemy ship on my radar here, that little red dot. I can't see him yet, but I know he's there. Yep, right there's a chrysalis asteroid like I was talking about. This is a nice safe area where you can mine those out. And then we just collect our gas. And loot. And that's really all there is to nebula gas farming. Yep, you can, if you're careful, you can get these chrysalis asteroids from safe, friendly areas instead of having to go into enemy territories. And I am so sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me today and my ability to speak. So let's head on over to a salvage yard next.
Power rerouted. T-drive engaged.
Now these things are quite visible on the map. As you can see, right here next to Planet Trinity is one, over here by LaGuardia is one. So let's head to Planet Trinity. Since this is where you start the game, it's probably where you'll get your first experience in mining. Looks like there's nebulas nearby there. Basically you can do all that stuff here, just at a lesser value. Because these asteroids, nebulas, and I'm guessing the salvage yards themselves probably don't have nearly as great a yield. So it does seem the longer the T-drive jump, the longer the load screen. Makes some sense. Alright.
Heavy long-range chatter. New missions are
So,
available.
looks like I jumped into the asteroid field. How did I manage that? I was pretty sure I jumped into the salvage belt. Oh well, let's just head a little further
New
this way.
waypoint confirmed. Affirmative. Engines on overdrive.
Yep, it's over here. We're just going to ignore the enemy there. Yep, here we go. As you can see, it's just called junk. I don't know if mining beams... I don't think mining beams get you anything special from space junk, honestly. You can't even use borehole torpedoes against them, so yeah. And generally what you get from these is stuff you'd find on ships, stations, things of that nature. As you can see, we've got a feisty little guy over here who really wants me to shoot at him, so we'll take care of him real quick.
Hostile target eliminated.
And as you can see, sometimes space junk just won't even give you anything. It's not a guarantee. but it looks like it gives you a greater chance at higher yield stuff, well, higher valuable stuff. English good today. Than what you'd get from mining in general. Again, it's something that'll take patience, and as you saw, you get experience for blowing these up. You also get experience for selling the junk you find. There we are. What does this one give us? Yep. You're generally going to get some nice valuable items doing this compared to, say, mining the low-end asteroids early game. It's just that the drops are rare because you're more often going to get better items. So if you're going the trading route, this is just another way to augment your earnings, XP, your profit, and all that. And again, for nebula mining, there's collector, which will give you more gas, and for scavenging salvage yards like this, there's the scavenger tree. Well, perks. Combine these with using transport vessels, you can get quite a bit of stuff on your ship, earn quite a bit of money, and in general, you could make a pretty hefty profit just by flying around mining and salvaging. Another trick to salvaging that I haven't mentioned yet is that littered throughout space there are derelict ships. You can destroy these derelicts with either weapons or, more preferably, there's these little guys here called scavenger swarms. Using a scavenger swarm will net you a heck of a lot more from a derelict, but if you don't have any handy, you can just blow it up with your weapons and get a pretty nice yield out of it. I don't see any derelicts handy for demonstration, and those are just kind of random to find. They appear as little white dots on your screen, or on your radar here. Same as the anomalies, so it's quite easy to get them mixed up when you're searching for them. So that's really about it for mining, salvaging, and nebula gas collecting. I don't think there's really any way to enhance the junk collection process except for maybe using regular weapons like I will do now with my ass cannon. Sorry for the language there, but come on. That's what that was. Yeah, you'll blow them up faster with that, but I don't know if you get any better yield from mining beams or not from junk. Honestly, it doesn't feel like it. In fact, I'm curious, can I use... Nope, you cannot use scavenger swarms on these. That would be an interesting concept, to use scavenger swarms on space junk. But yeah, you can use those on ship derelicts, whether you create them yourself from a mission or fighting, or just find them floating in space. Anyways, that's really all there is to this portion of the game. If you're gonna take this route, I highly recommend once you get level 10, buying yourself a freighter. That way you can hold more and get more profit and XP from your dealings with stations. Also, another important thing, if you're trying to go the route of non-combat like this, there's going to be situations where you have contraband on your ship. Now, whether or not you decide to give up this contraband, you're going to get negative rep. And at the beginning of the game, you stand at 0 rep. The second you hit negative, all this area will become hostile. So what you need to do to prevent this is early game take science missions and maintenance missions so that you can stay in the positive, and make sure that the missions are awarding positive rep, because you can receive missions from negative rep factions. You can also do ferry and taxi missions, and while you can be ambushed while doing those, you can just run away from those ambushes, or if you have a ship with cloak on it, just cloak your way to safety. But it's extremely important to keep your reputation in the positive if you want to play this style of game, or you're going to quickly find yourself in a no-win situation. So, again, maintenance missions and science missions. In fact, if you get your reputation high enough, you can head to Spire here and buy a license that will give you extra money every time you do a science mission. And every time you scan a nebula, there's a chance for a blueprint to drop, so there's that added benefit too. So it's more money just for doing what you're already doing, kind of. So with that, I guess I will call this one. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments or in the Steam forums thread. I'll be more than happy to answer. And with that, I guess I shall bid y'all adieu.